No worries
Okay,
there.
go
All right.
ahead with your starting question.
Okay. So, may I call you Carl, by the way? Is that okay?
Yeah, clear, clear.
Okay. What are the ways in which modern Swiss chocolate companies are perpetuating the colonial past? How do we still see this colonial past in this modern context with when it comes to
Yeah,
chocolate?
this is a long story. I try to shorten it. So, what is the situation today? The most cacao for the Swiss chocolate industry is coming. So the overwhelming amount of tons is coming from West Africa, especially more than a half of the raw materials of the cacao is coming from Ghana. So this is quite a difference to what we had during the triangle trade, during the classical days of colonialism. In but it's already this story to have Ghana as a main source for the cacao is already around 100 years old. So it has to do still with colonial roots. And but and also we can say Ghana is together, especially with Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast has even a bigger export role than Ghana, but both together has more than 2/3 of the world export of cacao. Uh, Ivory Coast just a little bit bigger than Ghana, and that this is in fact a new development, new in yeah 100 years old, because the origin of the cow is of course is in Central America. Especially it started in Mexico with the Spanish conquistadores that they brought the cacao to Europe. And there we have still some very important export nations of cacao, also in Central and South America, traditionally in Middle America. So we have, for instance, Ecuador, or with very special cacaos, etc. But these are today niches, and Switzerland has the most production, the most raw materials from Ghana. How it comes? This is so the history, or why it is the main place where we import cacao, has still to do with the colonial history. So the cacao came to Africa through in two steps. Let me say, one short step was in the 18th century. It came not direct to the continent, but only to the islands of Saint, how it's called, two small islands, 300 kilometers before Africa, before West Africa. These are the two islands of San Tomé e Principe, the two islands, the Portuguese colonies. But that broke down in around 1900, and it was forgotten until some years ago. But then it's because there the working conditions, the labor conditions were very bad. And that was published around 1900, in the years 1900, especially in Great Britain, and elsewhere, so that the companies stopped the importation of cacao from Sao Tome and Principe, because it was such an awful situation. People died like flies, and it was horrible to work there. So they searched for other sources, and they found now around 1900 Ghana, because in Ghana only in around 1890s the Swiss Basel mission, they started to bring cacao plants to West Africa. I have to explain some short sentences about the Basel mission. it is one of the traditional today church-linked aid agencies. It's part of the network of Bread for All. So there are, for instance, they were behind the Konzerninitiative. Maybe you heard about the responsibility of the multinational companies. We had the Swiss referendum just 2 weeks ago. So today they are very critical. And also when they started the Basel mission in the 19th century, there were some pastors, Reformed pastors, they said, we are guilty as a church. We helped during the slave trade. We helped to argue that slaves are not human beings. We were part of this colonial sin. So we have to do today something else. And they started this Basel mission to bring jobs, to bring a future to Africa. Of course, they wanted also to win some souls, traditional mission work. But they really had the idea to help in the work. So they founded also companies in Ghana. And one of the initiatives was to bring the cacao to West Africa, because these pastors, these activists saw that there is a good chance from the climate situation, etc., that cacao will grow there and could be a very nice fruit and plant there for successes. So they brought the cacao, and so in the 1880s it started. So it's not so long ago. It's just a little bit more than a century. And then around 1900 there was a breakthrough of these plantations. Many Ghanaians and other companies take over these plants also. So there was in some years there was a big distribution of the plants all over West Africa, so that we have had a big change of the cacao industry worldwide, so that no more Central America was the main exporter, but West Africa. And so what started with the Basel mission, that it remains until today for the Swiss chocolate industry, that the cacao from West Africa, from Ghana especially, is the main source. Now, the interesting thing is it happened, especially during both world wars, especially also the Second World War, that worldwide, many problems happened in exportation of cacao and in importation because of the war on the seas. So there were blockades, etc. So the cacao did not arrive in Switzerland. So they, even in around 1943, the Swiss chocolate industry had close contacts to the Basel mission, and they helped again the Swiss chocolate industry, that they at least received a minimum charge, a minimum transportation of cacao to Europe, that they did not break down totally, because it was a very hard situation for the cacao companies. One example is the famous chocolate Ragusa here in Switzerland. It is a chocolate only with very rare element of chocolate, because it's 80% is hazelnut. It was an emergency product, because hazelnuts you could receive in Europe internally, and you had not to transport it over the seas. But the cacao was very rare, so they tried to have products with only a little bit cacao that they could produce. And one of these products that survives is this Ragusa, very popular in Switzerland. You find it on all kiosks. So that is only to have an example for that. There are strong links over, let me say, a good century to Ghana, that became the most important export nation for cacao to Switzerland. So this is only the analysis of the how the links are today. But there is another, not only this historical link to colonialism, it's also still the way how the cacao comes to Switzerland, which shows a colonial pattern. So you see, the whole added value of chocolate is produced here in Switzerland because the cacao beans, they come here. So after the harvest of the beans, of the fruit, and then the beans, you have 3 main steps. You put out the beans on the fruit. You let them fermentize, the fermentizing process, and then you dry it. So these first steps, only these are produced in Ghana direct from almost small farmers. So plantations have also a lot of small farmers. They bring together the production. Yeah.